All right, welcome back to Cricket for Americans. Nick here, and I am bringing you my quick thoughts about today's big match here for all the RCB fans. Huge match playing against who I have winning the entire thing, the Rajasthan Royals, a team that's looked very, very strong. They have Josh Butler, who's the top run scorer in the IPL right now, going bananas for crying out loud. He was slow going in this match. For about the first 17, 18 overs, and the last few overs, he just went bonkers with those sixes, ended up with a decent 70 score. If you had that boost for the wicketkeepers, today was a good day to use it. But Rajasthan Royals, they have the bowling, they have the deep batting line, they have three openers right there, log jammed. I think it would, unfortunately for Jaiswal, it would serve better to have him near the end there because, at number 3, not the end. To have number 3, I put Padikkal back up number 2 because I just think Butler Padikkal to start off a match would be completely dangerous. But you had this match. It was a phenomenal match if you're an RCB fan. It's a heartbreaking match if you're a Rajasthan fan, in kind of a way. Because in my opinion, at no point in this match did any team have the clear victory that was snatched away from them or that they were able to seal. It was kind of a back and forth. It was a low-scoring affair. It was a lot of great bowling from both squads at different times. RCB lost 6 wickets. Rajasthan only lost 3. One of them was Jaiswal in the second over. That was heartbreaking if you had him on your fantasy squad. And if you're just a fan of Jaiswal, he's really struggling like Gaikwad is. These younger guys in their, their third season, really, really struggling. Maybe some would say a sophomore season because they didn't have a full first season. But RCB's bowling was very, very effective, especially since there was a little bit of dew coming in at the end of their innings. And you had Butler up there that at one point he was like 44 on 33 balls. They were really restricting him. He went loose in the last 2.5 overs, but the bowling was really able to restrict what could have happened. Okay, eventually you had some big scores that were given up, like Akashdeep. He gave up 23 in his final over. Before that, he only gave up 21 the other 3 overs, so he was very economical for his standards. Was not able to get that wicket. Siraj, once again, was really expensive, especially in his last over as well. But even a David Willey, who gave a lot of runs in his last over, he was able to get a wicket, early wicket, Jaiswal's wicket, and he was able to be very economical for most of the match. Hasaranga, he didn't have his best match, but he still had an economy rate just at 8. Harsh Patel, really, really, once again, back-to-back matches. Just when you think this guy's going to give a whole bunch of runs and train those wickets too, gets a wicket, and he has Rashid Khan numbers for a pacer for RCB. The bowling was really, really good on both sides. This is a site that I'm looking back in the history, and I think all low scores, right? It wasn't like DY where it's back and forth. Here has been all low scores. I think the highest, like with the 160s. Previous match, I think that RCB match, where they were barely able to squeak out against KKR in the 130s. But this was a match, as I'm watching it, as it's unfolding in front of me, that I'm thinking, okay, RCB's doing a great job, and then the 17th, 18th over came for Rajasthan and their death, and they just destroyed the cover off the ball. They absolutely decided to go ham for crying out loud. Just to look at these these overs as I get it pulled up right here, it was incredible. They got 23 in the 20th, like I mentioned, 19 in the 19th, and then they got 9 in the 18th, so that was very good bowling by RCB, 11 in the 17th. But it was those last 2, especially. I thought it was the last 3. So the last 2 where they were able to get 42 runs in the last 2. And we're talking about going into the 19th over, them having a score of 127 and ending with 169, almost 170. 127 the last 2 overs, 169, and that was Hitmeyer, that was Butler. They put on a hitting display, and they absolutely crushed Deep and Siraj. But before that, you're thinking, okay, RCB, they're going to chase this, right? The dew's starting to come in. It's going to help them out. They're going to be able to chase this. And then they went off for 40 runs the last 2 overs, maybe a little nervous. And then RCB started losing wickets like it was going out of style. They were losing tons of wickets early on. Faf went down in the 7th. And this is, again, after a power play where they survived. They didn't score a huge total, but they survived. Faf at the very end of the 7th over. Rawat at the very end of the 8th over. Kohli in the middle of the 9th over. Willey the very next ball for crying out loud. And then Rutherford in the 13th over. But those 4 wickets in a span of 2 overs. Less than 2 overs, you had 4 wickets lost. That's changed everything because the story for RCB, and this is where I'm really impressed with their moxie and their performance today. In the past, and they still don't have Maxwell yet. In the past, when you lose your first 3, especially at Kohli early on, forget about it, right? Last year was Paddock, Kohli, and then Maxwell. You lose those 3. AB was not AB last year. You had no chance. They had no middle order. This game, Faf and Rawat, they started pretty nicely, especially Faf, and then they lose their wickets after the power play. Kohli comes in, and he's struggling, ladies and gentlemen. He's struggling. I think he's 30th in runs scored for the first 3 matches. I get it's the first 3. And I think he's got like 58 runs. He scored 40 in his first match. He had 12 in the last match. He's really struggling. And I went back in his international matches. He hasn't had a lot of T20 internationals. He's missed a few of those the last 2 series. But honestly, his last 5 innings internationally, this is just international innings test ODI, 23 and 13 in the test match. Those are his 2 innings. 45 in another test match, the second test match, second to last test match they had against Sri Lanka. That's when they won by innings. He had less than 10% of the runs coming in early on. And then he had a duck in the ODI match against West Indies, and then he had 18 in the other ODI match that he batted in against West Indies. I get it. This is IPL. That's ODI. That's test. It's all over the place, but he's just struggling. He really, really is. I'm not exactly sure if he's trying to find his smile. Right? That's from City Slickers. But he's really struggling, and luckily for RCB, they can survive. Because once Faf and Rot went down, not only did Kohli and Willie went down, but they went down scoring 5 runs combined between the 2 of them. Rutherford, strike rate of 50, only 5 runs. But the thing that was so impressive, it's the obvious thing, but the thing that was so impressive is they have a middle order. They have closers, for crying out loud. That's right, plural in closers. And I guess you can even say trio if you want to talk about that nice walk-off 6 that Prabhu Patel had. That was a thing of beauty. At one point, I think they were chasing 81 off 41. Don't quote me on that, but it was something like that. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, this is 2 runs a ball. This is going to be challenging, especially since they had so few runs. They had like 90 runs at that point, and they were deep into the middle overs, deep right before the death, right? Because 41 balls is not even 7 overs. It's less than that. They were behind the 8 ball. Shabazz Ahmed, DK, Dinesh Karthik, had a masterful partnership, masterful into this match, masterful chase. And especially DK. I can't believe I live in a world where I finally get to see DK. Okay? I never got to see him in his heyday. I thought his heyday was way past. I really like him as an interview. I think he does a great job there. I thought that's where he was going to his future. Everyone kept saying this is not the DK. I don't know if this is what you saw before, but this guy is a finisher this year for RCB. The man is still not out. Sorry, Shreyas Iyer. DK is the new Mr. Not Out. He has not been out yet. Okay? He technically doesn't have an average, but his average should be what his score is right now, 90 runs or whatever it is, because he still has not got out. I get he comes in, especially the second match, he came in 14 runs off 7 balls. This guy's a finisher. The other 2 matches, he saw several balls, more than 20, and was able to help the team chase, able to help the team win. Or they should have won that first match. That's when they put out 205 runs. They weren't able to hold it. I am so happy and so impressed. DK, this is probably the biggest, one of the top 5, if you think, auction bids, steals of this season, this mega auction. Because he was doing nothing for KKR the last 2 seasons I was watching. He has done more already in 3 matches, especially this match where he really started saving the game with the 7 boundaries, 1-6, before Shabazz Ahmed got in the mix. Because Shabazz Ahmed was messing around with some balls, not really getting too many runs, and then they put on a show for about 2.5, 3 overs straight. And it gets me excited because they did not have finishers. They did not, I mean, they had AB. Finishers. They have not had that the last 2 seasons. And last year, AB, like I said, was not AB. But this year, you have DK. Shabazz Ahmed, who I can't count on that every single time, but he's done pretty well the last 2 matches. And then you got Kohli, hopefully can bounce back. Rawat, I don't like the fielding whatsoever. I get it. I think he's traditionally a wicket keeper. He's struggling everywhere else. He really, really is. He has lost his confidence since he had that drop in the last match. And then you have Faf. You know, he's not going to get 80 every single time. He's just not. He's just not. But man alive, DK so far, in my opinion, is the MVP of this team. I know you're going to say Faf, I get that. DK's really impressed me. And this chase, I did not believe it. I did not think it was going to happen when they were 81-41. They had a horrible opening to the match. The bowling for Rajasthan was cooking and sizzling. And they were able to beat who I think is the best team. They were able to come back, had a huge comeback after being down so much. And their finishers were able to finish. Their bowling got enough done. And you're talking about going against the likes of Bolt with his 2 wickets. Krishna, who didn't get a wicket, had 40 runs. They were able to score some runs off him. Ashwin, who still, I've never seen Ashwin dominate in the IPL. I'm just saying 2 seasons plus. Shahal, who's a monster. Oh, he's a monster. You better believe I made him my vice captain today because this guy cannot stop getting wickets. He can help with that run out as well. This guy is a beast. And you're going against Saini, who gave a lot of runs and got that wicket. And then Jaiswal, I want your opinion on this one. They had Jaiswal go at the end. Was that them just not wanting to waste any arms? We know we're going to lose this. We know they're going to chase 3 runs off 6 balls. Let's hope that this guy throws them something they're not expecting. First ball, 6 by Prabhu Patel. They were expecting it just fine. Didn't surprise them. That was a really, really interesting move. Didn't want to throw Saini out there. Didn't trust him, so they thought, let's throw a curveball and put Yash out there. I don't know about that. But at the end of the day, this was a great match for an RCB fan. It's so fantastic not to be on the couch. It's so great to be on this side. I love it. I love it. I love it. And DK, I officially am going to be kind to you moving forward because I've seen the true DK. Thank you so much for saving RCB. Thank you, everyone that roots for RCB. Let's keep it going. There's still 6 in the points table. It's a log jam at the top, so we got to get some more wins going on. But this was a great win, huge win. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, adios.